Bernard.
Welcome back and thank you for listening to the Abu Dhabi Transparency House. I am here with Ivar. Welcome, Ivar.
Thank you.
You are of the company Biondoil. We have just had a brief introduction just now, so I'm pretty fresh. Please explain, what do you do?
We are developing currently a biorefinery in the port of Rotterdam on 2 locations.
What is a biorefinery?
Yeah, a refinery is a big word, so it's a good question, thank you. We are going to produce second generation bioethanol to mix with fuel, liquid CO2, this carbon dioxide and lignin.
So the bio part in this, it already sounds very sustainable and good for the earth, but is it actually? What is bio in this sense?
Bio in this sense, it is we produce from residual wood chips, and because we mix it with the fossil fuels, we are part of the transition to go from a fossil-based, basically fuel production, to defossilization of that part.
Can you tell me a little bit more about the process and where you get your wood chips from?
Yeah, absolutely. The wood chips we get from its residual wood chips. We have to comply with the Renewable Energy Directive 2, which requires us to use really residual wood chips. So we're not allowed, and we don't want to cut forests to make wood chips. So we use chips from forests that are already being cut for housing, construction, and that part. And we take it from across the globe, basically, small part from the Netherlands. That's the plan. We're not taking it yet. We're now setting up those logistics, and that's the idea.
So, how sustainable is this?
That's a good and very broad question.
Yeah.
It is sustainable. Let's say the ethanol that is now being produced make sure that we produce 72% less CO2 in the atmosphere. The step that we're taking that 72% up to 86%, even if we are moving those wood chips from North America, for instance, towards Rotterdam.
So is this a new thing?
The technology that we use isn't new. What's new about it is that we use residual wood chips.
Which you said were certified, so I take it that certain accreditation system is there that makes sure that you are actually using wood chips that are surplus instead of wood chips that are generated for other purposes.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, and how do you manage this?
We don't manage it yet, but we are planning on putting another extra layer on top of it. We cannot check and trace every wood chip, of course. So we are actually working on a plan now to make sure that we do it even better than the certification that is required. But as long as we are certified, standard certification, it should be good enough, but for us it is not. So we want to take an extra step.
And is the 86%, is that unique in the market?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because all the other competitors, for instance, they do the 72%? Or?
Yeah, they do it from first generation biomass, so food, sugar beet, sugar cane, corn. We and also Europe believes that food should go into the mouths of people and not into engines of cars. So we're going to be probably the first, but definitely the biggest in the world.
Biggest in the world?
Yeah.
Right now you are based in Rotterdam.
Yeah.
So that's a starting point.
Yeah, that's a starting point.
So if you're talking about becoming global, then you need a lot of refineries. Is that also the reason why you're here at Abu Dhabi, the Sustainability Week?
Yeah, that's one of the reasons. Basically, our main strategy is first to start off in Rotterdam on 1 or 2 locations. There's already high interest from, for instance, the Port of Antwerp to do this as well. But then it's going to be producing bioethanol, other products more towards the chemical industry instead of the fuel industry. And what we are also already looking at is to create a facility closer to the biomass.
Because you're a little bit ahead of me, because I just wanted to ask, your supply chain is global, so how do you manage this? But you are going to be closer to the production or the cutting of wood. So what is then the best location? I mean, Rotterdam is a port, so it's nice and handy.
Yeah.
But shouldn't you be in Norway where they cut a lot of wood, or somewhere else?
Yeah, but Norway has a lot of wood already. It's going elsewhere.
It's going to IKEA planks
For
or
instance,
the Billies or something like that.
Yeah.
So,
And they have a lot of other facilities where they use residual wood chips as well.
so residual wood chips, in that sense, they have other purposes as well.
Yeah.
So,
And I think not very good purposes.
okay.
For instance, if you use wood to fire to make electricity, that's the least valuable way of working with wood. And that's what's happening a lot.
Maybe it's nice to explain a little bit about that, because people listening might not know. They know a refinery is a large chemical, something happens there. Adding bio means, yes, that you have a more sustainable source.
Yeah.
But what does it mean if you use the wood chips for burning versus for biofuel? Is there
Well, it has to do with valorization. A wood chip has much more usable ingredients than just, burn it, which is the easiest part to do, and that is less sustainable than what we are doing.
And also, it has more value if you add it to the.
Absolutely, because it's not only bioethanol that we take out of a wood chip, it's also liquid CO2, biogenic, which is high grade, and we also have one of the main streams, residual streams in our plant is also lignin, which is, I think the next new commodity. I wouldn't say gold, because you can do more with lignin than with gold.
Can you briefly just say what it is?
Lignin is what's left over after we've treated the wood chip. So there are several technologies that treat a wood chip up to a point where you produce ethanol. One is with a steam explosion and the other one is with a solvent. But in both cases, lignin, which is the residual, let's say the basic molecule of wood, which is left over, which is unusable anymore, at least in our process. And then with that lignin, there's a lot of new technologies in the world, especially from Finland, where we also partnered up with one of those companies who further valorize the lignin stream.
Into what?
Into, for instance, insulation material, but also the basis for marine coatings. And marine coatings is a strong polluter.
Interesting. So you're about to change the world on improving the CO2 levels that are related to the biofuel.
Yeah.
You are now building up your first plant in Rotterdam.
Yep.
When is it open, or is it?
The plan is 2023. Yeah.
2023.
Yeah.
Well,
it's going to be a big plant.
I'm looking forward to following you on LinkedIn. I hope that everybody listening will also do that. So that's again Ivar Knopper from Biondoil, Netherlands. And everybody, thank you for listening, and we will now be waiting for our next guest, who is already arriving. So thanks again, Ivar, and thanks everybody for listening.
Thanks for the opportunity, Bernard.